What if leaving is not an option right away? Probably you want to rebuild your finances, or you want to set certain things straight before leaving the nurse, or the narcissist is your spouse, the narcissist is your parent, the narcissist is your boss, and every day feels like walking through landmines just to survive. How do you stay sane with such a person when he's constantly chipping away at your sanity? And I want you to know that you're not weak for staying. You're not stupid for staying. Millions all over the world face this same situation silently. And I tell you, you can't take back your power without them knowing, because that is exactly what I did. Before I left the third time, I grew from the inside and no one knew what I was doing. And so begin to grow from the inside without the narcissist knowing what you're reclaiming inside of you, mentally, spiritually, and emotionally. Begin to grow from the inside. And these tips that I'm going to share are going to help you to do just that. And I want you to know that you are not alone, and you can survive this. This video is for you if you're crying behind closed doors. This video is for you if you're dreaming of freedom. This video is for you if you are praying for strength on a daily basis. I tell you, you can do this. Let me show you how. And so the first thing I want you to know is that you need wisdom, you need discernment, you need courage, you need clarity to deal with this situation, because it's not always that you're going to say no. Sometimes you'll say yes because you're still with the narcissist. And so you got to have the wisdom to deal with this situation. It's a hard and painful situation to be in. I know that from experience. But with wisdom, you can survive the emotional landmines. And so ask God for wisdom. The book of James says we should ask for wisdom if we need it, and God gives wisdom. And so ask God for wisdom and clarity to deal with the situation. There are certain times you will not talk if you are still with the narcissist. There are certain times you will talk, and there are certain times you will say no. There are certain times you will say yes. And so you need the wisdom to know when to say which of them. And we can see this from the life of Jesus when he dealt with narcissists. Sometimes he will say nothing, yet some other times he will just say a little. Yet some other times he will say a lot, yet some other times he will walk away. And so you got to know what to do per time, and that requires that you have the wisdom from above. You need with divine wisdom, and God above grants us that. If we ask it from him, he will definitely grant us that. Now, the second thing I want you to know, if you feel stuck with a narcissist, is that God is with you in that situation. Yes, you are not alone. You can never ever be alone when God, the creator of heaven and earth, is with you. And so don't doubt that. The situation may be painful. The situation may be overbearing. The situation may be overwhelming. But I want you to know that the active presence of God is with you. And that is the power of the Holy Spirit. It is with you. God is with you. And so you are never alone. Never ever think that you are alone when the situation gets overwhelming. So don't focus more on your circumstances. Focus more on your God, because your God is greater than your circumstances. Now, the third thing to do is to see the narcissist for who he is, not who you want him to be. You need to manage your expectations in this situation, because you don't want to get into the trap of, oh, if I love him more, if I do this more, if I respect him more, he's going to change. No, manage your expectations. This is what the narcissist has chosen to be. And God gave each and every one of us a free will, and he's exercising his free will to be a narcissist. And so you cannot get him out of that trap by loving him more, by respecting him more, by submitting more to him. No, manage your expectations. See him for who he really is, and not what you think he should be, not what you wish he was. You need to come to terms with the fact that a narcissist may never change. Never. because for them to change, they got to be humble. The book of Chronicles says, if the people who are called by my name shall humble themselves and pray, I will hear from heaven and heal their land. But the narcissist is not ready to be humble because pride is their nature. And so manage your expectations of, oh, if I stay long enough, he will change. He will change. This kind of trap has kept many women stuck in narcissistic marriages, and you have to be careful of the fact. And so the narcissist may never change. Come to terms with that fact. Accept that reality and be okay with it. Now, the next thing is be your authentic self. You know, when you present your authentic self, it threatens the false self that the narcissist presents. And so be your authentic self. But even being your authentic self has to be with a lot of wisdom. I said that initially. There are certain times you will present your authentic self, and there are certain times if the situation demands, you will do something else. And so you got a lot of wisdom and discernment in this situation. And so be your authentic self. Present your authentic self, because it threatens the false self that the narcissist presents. And the narcissists are not able to stay in the company of someone who presents her authentic self. They might leave if they find the situation uncomfortable, but when you do that enough, it enables you to assert yourself. Now, the next thing is respond and don't react. You don't want your emotions running all over the place. You don't want your emotions running riot when you're still with a narcissist, because then you are reacting the exact way that the narcissist wants you to react, because the narcissist knows your buttons and will be pressing those buttons. He will actually be telling someone close that, watch her. I know her buttons. Once I press this one, this is how she's going to react. But you got to stop those reactions and start responding from a place of power, which means you sit down, look at the situation, and respond from a place of power, and not just the way that the narcissist wants you to respond. And so you're not going to feed into the narrative that the narcissist has been presenting. You want to change, flip the script, and so respond. And you can only respond from a place of power when you engage the power of a pause. And so instead of instinctively responding, you pause, breathe deeply, or distract yourself in that moment, and then think of the situation and look at the best way to present yourself, instead of just instinctively reacting in the way that feeds into the narrative of the narcissist. Because when you do that, the narcissist panics, because then he sees that you are changing. He sees that things are no longer the way they used to be. He sees that he cannot emotionally punch your buttons and expect you to react a certain way. Then you are no longer feeding into the control of the narcissist. Then you're taking control, which means you are taking control of your life back. You are taking control of your energy. You are taking control of your emotions. Very powerful. And I tell you, this sends a warning signal to the narcissist. And so respond and don't react. Because if you keep reacting, I tell you, you are going to drain yourself, and you're going to run on empty soon. And so you got to protect your power. You got to protect your energy. You got to protect your emotions by responding from a place of power, and not responding from reacting from a place of weakness. Now, the next thing is find ways to deal with demands of physical intimacy. And if you stay with a narcissist and you're married, there will be demands of physical intimacy, and you're not emotionally connected. How do you do that? I know that for some women, it's easy for them, even if they are not emotionally connected, to be physically intimate. But for some women, it's hard. And so if you're going to stay with a narcissist because of certain reasons that you understand, you got to deal with that. You got to be able to compartmentalize. This is how I'm going to do it. That you just have to find a way around it, because there will be demands of physical intimacy if you decide to stay with a narcissist and you're still married. There will be that. And so you got to figure out how to deal with that. Very, very important, without feeling any hurt. Also, you got to set strong boundaries. In fact, you need the strongest of all boundaries, and you got to be able to communicate those boundaries. Assertive communication is key in this regard. You got to be able to communicate clearly, define your boundaries, and set consequences. Don't expect the narcissist to obey your boundaries. Obey is even a strong word to use. Don't expect the narcissist to just follow your boundaries, because there will be a lot of pushbacks. There's gonna be a lot of pushback, and so you got to figure out how to deal with the pushbacks from the get-go. If this happens, what am I gonna do? Because I don't expect the narcissist to obey or follow my boundaries. And so you got to know how to react if there is a pushback, because there will definitely be pushbacks. Narcissists are people who want to be control freaks. They are actually control freaks, and they don't want to be controlled by you setting boundaries and stuff like that. And so they're going to push back. You got to know what to do in that instance. Also, focus on yourself. Make yourself the project. Instead of saying, oh, I want to know how God is going to judge the narcissist. I want to know how it's going to end for the narcissist. I want to get revenge on the narcissist. That is not your part to play. No. Focus on yourself. These 3 words, they were my lifesavers. I won't lie about that. When I was deep in narcissistic abuse, I focused on myself. I began to heal from the inside out without the narcissist suspecting anything happening. And so take care of yourself, eat healthy, drink lots of water, exercise, sleep well, surround yourself with positive people, because you need to nurture relationships outside the one you have with the narcissist. Because the narcissist relationship is draining, and so you got to find places where you will be refueled, people who will refuel you. And so find safe people and build relationships with them. Surround yourself with people who fuel you, people who push you, people who support you, people who are positive and will listen to you without judging you. Very, very important. And also self-validate a lot. Aside from waiting for a validation from people, self-validate. Validate yourself. Give yourself what you want the narcissist to give you. Date yourself all over again. Validate yourself. I am beautiful. I am wonderfully made. I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me. God is my anchor. God is my shield. I've got support. I am a conqueror through Christ who loved me. And so begin to validate yourself. Look in the mirror and validate yourself. I love you, Iyabo. You can do all things. Nothing is impossible for you, because the creator of heaven and earth is with you. You do not lack help. You do not lack support. No matter what you're facing, you're stronger than the pain. Begin to affirm yourself. Fuel yourself. Very, very important. Learn about narcissistic personality disorder. Learn about narcissistic traits, because it's not everybody who's got NPD. Some of them just have narcissistic traits. But learn about this disorder, because it enables you to handle the situation with courage and with wisdom. And last but not the least, let me talk about learned helplessness, because some people think they are stuck, but the situation they are facing is actually learned helplessness. And I faced it too when I was like, oh, I'm helpless. No, we call it learned helplessness, because you learned it and you can unlearn it. Because in life, you got to unlearn, you got to learn, you got to relearn. Very, very important. So unlearn learned helplessness. Know that you can do all things through Christ who strengthens you. Know that you can do all things. And so don't allow learned helplessness to get the best of you. Unlearn learned helplessness. I want you to know that you can do all things, and God is with you in that situation. If you decided to stay for a bit, or I don't know for how long, but I did this video because there's this shaming going on in narcissistic abuse circles that if you do not leave, you're weak, you're stupid, you're crazy. And I know that for some people, it's not that they are weak, they are crazy, or they are stupid. It's just that the situation demands that they stay for a bit. And so this is me telling you, you are not weak, and you are not alone. There are millions of other women in the same situation, And I tell you, God is with you. God supports you. God upholds you, and he'll definitely see you through this phase of your life. Thank you so much for watching this video. Be sure to check the description for Bible verses that will empower you. And don't forget to watch the next video on your screen. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. Love you. Mwah.